Hey there everyone, and welcome back to another Arcane Devlog. So what sort of devlog will this be if I didn't start it out with a nice little hike? This one's just the summit track up at Mount Greville. It's about a 1 hour's drive just south of Brisbane, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You alright?
So we didn't actually make it all the way to the top in time for sunset. We got about halfway before it started to get dark and we headed back down. But we still got some nice shots up there, and overall it was just a good trip. So what more can you ask for? Good hike. 4 out of 5. So starting things off this week with a bit of user interface work. I'm actually pretty excited for this because this means that we're actually going to have a main menu and we're going to be able to load into the game, and we'll be able to do a ton of save game stuff with that. It's going to be pretty cool. It's new and uncharted territory like everything else that I've done so far. So yeah, we're just starting things out with a bit of a sketch. So this is going to be the class that everything is centered around. It's a screen element. If you want something on the screen or just any form of UI, whether it be static or a heads-up display or whatever, you'll create a screen element. Shouldn't be too difficult to implement. The main thing I'm going to struggle with is the rendering side of things. Getting text to work, that's going to be a bit of a struggle, but yeah, we'll see how we go. So starting off with the API side of things, I've decided to use the retain mode GUI system as opposed to immediate mode. I did look into using immediate mode for a while. Ultimately, I decided against it, and so we're just going to stick with retained. It's what I worked with in Unreal Engine, and it just seems the most familiar. Immediate mode does look really interesting though, and I wouldn't mind giving it a bit of a try further down the track, but I'm just going to stick to what I know. It's going to be the fastest. Anyway, so moving on, what else did I do? Okay, yep, so rendering order, that's all done. So we can basically order every single object that we have on the screen, so that's nice. I also added transparency. That didn't take too long. It was literally just a toggle in OpenGL, so that works now. That's pretty much that. The transparency is working, so that's nice. If we just change this clear color to white, then that's all working. Yeah, we can go behind it because this is a UI layer. It's on top of everything, so yeah. What we're going to move on to next is getting text rendering all sorted. That might be a bit tricky. I haven't done it before, but I'm sure there's a whole lot of tutorials and stuff on the internet. And yeah, after that, we're just going to move on to finishing off the UI system with all the events, just getting some widgets up like buttons, text boxes, getting all the logic in for those so we can actually start creating UI systems like the main menu, the play inventory, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, text rendering, let's go. So I've had the day off work today. Not this work, of course, my actual job. So just then I've gone and redone the structure of all the renderable classes. Before it was really messy and confusing as to what was going on, so I've just streamlined that a bit. Pretty much done now. There's a few small things I'm yet to re-implement, but it's looking pretty good at the moment. It works. I'm just about to move on to actually implementing the font rendering side of things. So I've got, what is it called? I've got FreeType all set up here and a FreeType GL. Figured I wouldn't create my own sort of system for extracting the glyphs and stuff from fonts, because why waste time when I've got something that should work perfectly fine for me. I guess we'll just see how we go. I have to implement it, and yeah. Hey there, buddy. You ready for a hike? What the fuck? So since we didn't actually get all the way to the top the first time we hiked Mount Greville, we decided to do it again, this time in the complete dark with nothing but our phone torches. James, you ready?
I'm not ready at all. I'm very terrified.
Let's shut that car door.
Oh, good stuff.
Back again in the absolute pitch dark.
We got what? You'd say 3/4 the last one?
Yeah.
Close to that.
Probably 3/4, yeah.
Just stop stopping.
It's too steep. How you doing, James?
Fucking tired, man.
Been at it for a good 3 hours now. Probably like 5 minutes away from the summit.
Okay. Stop. Okay. I almost fell off.
It's busy getting some mad shots, dude.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so the past week or so I've been doing some work on text rendering. Finally finished it all off now. Not gonna lie, it was quite the effort. A lot more difficult than I thought it'd be, but we did get around to doing it. It should be all finished now. So yeah, if we go ahead and run this, and you'll see 3 separate texts on the screen, each with their own different fonts, different colors and whatnot. And yeah, looking pretty good. I've also got opacity working over here, so you can just see it's slightly transparent. I think most of them are, except this one up here. And yeah, that's all there is to it. So I've recently been working on the user interface API side of things. So yeah, just trying to clean that up a bit and make it a bit more friendly to use, I guess. And in the process, I just kept on refactoring and redoing and refactoring and redoing, and it was just absolute madness. So I've just forced myself to stop and sort of just say that'll do. Okay, and just go with that. So the way I've actually laid things out, transformation wise or screen space wise, is you'll provide a transform, and this transform can range anywhere from -1 to 1, and that's going to represent each corner of the screen basically. So because this is at 0.5, 0.5, it's probably going to be in that 75% zone up in the top right. So that's how the UI is going to be laid out, and that's how I'm going to design things going forward. So all it's left to do is just expand on this system, add more and more UI elements like text boxes, buttons, and all that type of stuff. So yeah, and then that'll allow us hopefully to just go and create our own sort of UI elements, like the main menu and the player inventory and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, looking forward to it. I think I'm going to move on to creating buttons now, or maybe text boxes. I don't know. Let's just try and do both. Okay, so I did a bit of work on the label and the button, and then I realized I need to do a lot more work on the label before I can do work on the button. So what we need to accomplish with the label is basically we provide a size, right? Say it's 200 pixels by like 30 pixels, right? So obviously this is a label. We want text to be in it. And we provide it with a string. We provide it with, I don't know, just hello or something. But we don't want to provide a font size because that's just too much effort. We want these sort of bounds to interpret a font size from the text that we give it. So that's all we need to accomplish. Not too sure how to do it, but we'll definitely get there. So I finally worked out the type of dimensions that we need to use to get this auto sizing to work. So whatever font size we supply, so we've got 140 here, that's just a 1-to-1 with the pixels within the actual game. So that's a bit of relief. We can actually get auto sizing working properly now, just got to implement it. This is just hard coded at the moment. So as you can see here, it fits nicely within this box. I haven't done the X value yet, so that's why there's a bit of blank space there. But yeah, just focusing on the Y axis, you can see it's nice and tight to the edge. And yeah, if we reduce the font size even, and you can still see it's nice and centered within the actual bounds of the box. And just when I thought I was done with collision. Okay, so I didn't actually go all the way with the ray tracing. I just ended up using a bit of a hack slash workaround for the time being. So I've just got it as a to-do here. But at the moment, it only works with aligned axis bounding boxes. So if we start using any convex shapes or any rotated boxes or anything with this ray tracing method, then it's not going to work. But for now, it just does a really rough bounce check, and it'll 100% work if it's just a quad that is aligned to both the X and Y axis perfectly. So if we go over here and we hover on top, it's going to hover. And then when we unhover, move off to the side, and it's going to say that. All that's really left to do is do the quick events, and then obviously the animations and shading and all that stuff. So I've just finished implementing the new animation system. It's feeling pretty good at the moment. There isn't too much wrong with it. It's fairly easy to use. It just works, so I guess that's the most important thing. So I've just been working on the animations for the button. The button has two animations at the moment. The first one is it's enlarge, which is going to happen when you hover over it. And the second one is the click, which happens when you click it. We're creating a new animation here, and the only thing we're really providing it with is how long the animation is going to last, the various keyframes for the animation, and just an update function, which we can update those keyframes through. So we can see these animations in effect here, and when we hover over the button, it's going to play that animation, and then when we click it, it'll do the exact same thing. So yeah, that's that. So we've pretty much finished the basis of the UI system. The next step is pretty much just grab what we have, which is all the buttons and labels and everything, and create a main menu, and then integrate the save game system into that main menu, and just get world loading and creation and all that down pat. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it for this devlog. We've pretty much finished off the main aspects of the UI system, that is the API, and we've just gotten a few basic widgets in here like the button. There are a few more complex widgets that we need to do, like the text box and like all those sort of scale boxes and just the layout type stuff. But for now, it's in a pretty good state for us to move on to actually creating some UI. So we'll start off with just a very basic prototype main menu and sort of integrate the save game system into that as well, so we can do world loading and saving and all that type of stuff. Yeah, from there we should actually be able to start moving into some gameplay work. We've pretty much done most of the core engine work at this point, and that's just amazing. There's obviously still a ton of work that still needs doing with it. But yeah, we've pretty much got all the core systems in place, and now we can actually begin working on the game. So that's exciting. There's still a long way to go, but I'd say about 1% of our journey is complete.